so yeah, so that's the chloroplast. And then we have another. Let's come back to this demonstration of the cell. Do you notice that blue thing here? It is kind of huge and enormous compared to other components of the cell, right? And it is the vacuole. So what exactly is the vacuole? We have two most important functions of vacuole here. First, it is the storage structure of a cell. Maybe I am not really, I didn't do much research about vacuole, but basically based on my knowledge so far and experience, I think that vacuole is actually in charge of storing energy for the cell for later usage, or even to holding water for later use, or waste for removal. But it is not that important to learn about, so basically just need to understand that vacuole is responsible for, you know, to holding water and to storing it for later usage. Oh my god, we have so many other organelles to learn about. I hope that you guys don't confuse any parts. If you think that my speed is kind of too fast for you guys, then just tell me to slow down a little bit because yeah. Alright, so that's it. That's about vacuole. And then we have Golgi apparatus. Well, from this part onward, you don't need to pay attention to all of this stuff because it is just extra components I want to tell about. But one of the three most important parts of the plant cell you have to memorize, as I've stressed and emphasized throughout the whole lesson, it is cell membrane, nucleus, chloroplast, and uh, vacuole. So that's the four most important components of the cell. You don't have to remember or memorize the stuff onward, but it is still good to understand about it, right? So yeah, let's dive in. Next we have Golgi apparatus. It just like some stripes that have the pink color, and it is involved in the sorting and packaging of proteins and other molecules which are transported within and out of the cell. So it is to categorizing and to filtering the proteins and other nutrients of the cell. So that's the Golgi apparatus. And then we got oh my god, wait a minute, I have to take a sip of water because I'm so thirsty. Sorry about that. Next we have one of my favorite component of a cell. It is mitochondria. So you can see that it really looks similar to the sausage, right? It does look like a sausage for me, to be honest. So basically, mitochondria also contains their own DNA and ribosomes, which allow them to replicate and produce proteins. Basically, mitochondria is to replicate and to multiply the protein components of the cell, and also contribute to the growth of the plants to produce some kind of nutrients like proteins and other molecules. And we have lysosome. Oh my god, I am so confused with all of these terminology. A lysosome basically is a membrane-bound organelle that is responsible for the breakdown and recycling of macromolecules that are no longer needed by the cell. It's just like the vacuole. It is to remove and to eliminate all the waste that is unnecessary for the cell. So yeah, that's basically the function of lysosome. So I think we're gonna go quickly through all of this before, because it's not that important anyway. So yeah, next we have endoplasmic reticulum. I suppose that's the right pronunciation. But anyway, the endoplasmic reticulum is an organelle that helps in the transport, processing, and storage of proteins and other molecules. Well, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I think that all of this, from Golgi apparatus to endoplasmic reticulum, it also has something to do with proteins and other molecules, maybe to storing and to transporting whatever it is, but it always has something to do with proteins and the nutrients to support the plant's growth. So that's basically that. I hope that you guys can understand it. And yeah. Oh, wait a minute. There's someone. kind of hard to keep up with the lecture, but basically it's something like that. It's all the organelles that are necessary and vital for the plant's growth. So, in order to reinforce your knowledge and to put the theory into practice, I have a few questions for you guys to answer. Well, this question is kind of easy, and yeah, it's really predictable to answer those questions. But anyway, so we have question number one. Which organelle controls everything in a cell? Is it A, nucleus, B, cell membrane, or C, chloroplast? So we've just gone through all the functions of all those components, and I want you guys to answer this question. So what do you guys think about this? Anyone who wanna raise their hands to answer this question? Oh wait. Oh, there's somebody raising their hands already. Okay, so somebody called Heinling. Can you answer this question?
I think it's the nucleus.
The nucleus. Mm-hmm. Okay, so any other ideas, or do you agree with her opinion? Let's see some other ideas first before we figure out the answer. We have who's raising their hands? Oh, okay. I think Phương Trần Thị Thúy. I guess that's your name.
I'm Lisa, but I'm using the phone.
Come again?
I also think it's nucleus.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm. So you guys. Oh
Can I
yes.
ask you a question?
Wait, I don't hear anything at all. Okay, let me check the sound. Can you can you repeat your answer, please?
I also think it's nucleus. And can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So do you guys agree with their opinions? Any other exceptions? Because I think that the answer is pretty clear now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so nobody actually raised their hand, so it means that everyone agree with this opinion, and it's accurate. Yes, it is nucleus, which is in charge of controlling everything in the cell. So that's true, it is a nucleus. So I have some bonus questions for you guys. It's not really relevant to the questions, but I want to challenge yourselves a little bit. So if you already know about the functions of nucleus, can you also tell me the function of cell membrane regarding the cell? Like, what is the cell membrane in charge of in a cell? Okay, oh my gosh, so only you kind of like raising the hands. Come on, guys, please raise the hands. Function T2, you already know the answer, right?
Yeah.
So, I'll give other opportunities because you guys have to be interactive. So I'll just call randomly to check whether or not you actually pay attention to my question. So, let's see. What about Huyền Anh? Can you tell me the function of cell membrane?
Can you say it again?
Can you tell me the function of cell membrane? Here, this. Wait, for some reasons, I cannot hear her answering the question. Okay. In the meantime, of waiting her to maybe to fix the microphone or something, or to think of the answer, I'll call out the person to answer this. Let's see. What about monkey? Can you answer this?
Yes.
Can you tell me the function of cell membrane?
I
Well, it's okay if you don't know the answer. I will just clarify again because it's kind of hard to understand in the first place. Do you know the answer?
yes.
Um, so can you tell me that? Can you tell me the function of cell membrane?
Um, didn't know it.
Oh, that's okay. So basically, cell membrane, as I've just clarified a little bit in the beginning of the lesson, like a lot. Cell membrane basically is to protect the organelles from other influences. So remember that, yeah, cell membrane is like the protection for the cell. So yeah, that's basically that. And can you tell me? Can anyone here tell me the function of chloroplast? Because yeah, if you guys don't know the answer, that's totally fine because I think this question is kind of hard. Maybe you cannot memorize it instantly, but based on what I've just explained to you guys in the beginning of the lesson, can you tell me like what is the function of chloroplast?
Can I try?
What? Can you repeat that? Yeah, of course.
Is it the part where it holds the water or give away the bad things in the cell?
Um, well, it's really great that you can memorize that part. It is actually not chloroplast. It is vacuole. Like, let me just here. Vacuole. It's actually in charge of storing the nutrients and other stuff of the cell and to eliminating the water. But it's still really fantastic that you can remember that part. I'm not expecting you guys to do that, but yeah, thank you so much for answering that part of vacuole. But basically, chloroplast is in charge of taking place the photosynthesis process, which I'll go more in depth later in this lesson, and also the part to make the plants become green. Like whenever you spot any plants around you, it always have the well, I don't know. I don't say that always the plants will have the green color, but most of them will have, and it's thanks to this component, to the chloroplast, that contribute to the greenery color of the plants. So does it make sense to you? Okay, I think it does answer your question about this. Okay, so next question. I mean, I've just challenged you guys about this, but let's just recap a little bit to see. Like a factory stores, what part of the plant cell allows stuff to enter and leave the cell? We have vacuole, cell membrane, and fluid. This question is so easy peasy. I hope that you guys can answer this accurately because, yeah. We have two people raising their hands. So let's see, Huang Wien, can you answer this?
It is the vacuole.
The vacuole. Well, I've just explained earlier that vacuole is for storing water and to eliminate the waste, but it is not for allowing stuff to enter the cell. Remember that this is act as a protection to protect the cells from other influences, and the factors from outside. It is like allow stuff to enter and leave the cell. Remember the part where I explained that I kind of like resemble this part to the factory gates where people can get in and get out of the factory or the houses. So it's really tricky. If you pay attention enough to the class, you can understand and you can answer this question. So let's see. Oh, we have Hui and Ang. Can you answer this?
This is food.
Wait,
It's C.
you said B or C?
C.
C? Um, wait a minute. You can you repeat that because the sound quality is kind of bad?
It's food.
Fluid? Oh come on, guys. Ah, well, wait a minute. I forgot to explain this concept to you guys earlier, but basically, let me just. We don't have the slides for the fluid here, but I want to clarify a little bit in case you are wondering. So, fluid, basically, it is the jelly things surrounding all the organelles here. You can see the I don't know how to
Where's
explain
the
it.
flute? Where's the flute?
Okay, I don't have the thing to show you guys the fluid here, but let me just. Do you see like the lightest part of the cell, like surroundings all the organelles? That's jelly fluid. Is actually the cytoplasm, or I forgot the terminology of it. But let me just show you guys some picture. Um, there's another name for this fluid in plants. It's called cytoplasm. If my memory serves me right, it is called like that. Here, um, the jelly thing surrounding the organelles. The picture is kind of really small, but I hope you guys can see that clearly. It is.
Oh, I know what is food now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you.
It
So
is the background.
yeah, that's correct. So do you want to change your answer about this question?
Yeah.
So what do you think? We only have one option left.
It is cell members.
Yeah, it is cell membrane actually. So I think that a lot of you guys have difficulty with understanding this concept, cell membrane. Let me just explain again a little bit. So basically, cell membrane is the surroundings of the cell, which is to protect it from other factors and influences from the outside. It is act as a gate. So just imagine that you're living in a house, and whenever you want to leave out from the house, you have to pass through the gate, right? So the gate also protects you from maybe crimes and criminals and other strangers who want to barge into your house and who want to do something harm to you. Then the gate act as a protection for you. So just remember that it is act as a gate. So that's the best resemblance that I can think of to help you guys understand this concept. But basically, it's like that. So, can you understand now? I hope that you can understand that.
But I think my picture is different.
What what picture?
I have read about this cell before, so I have seen a picture of it, but it is different from yours.
Maybe the illustrations are slightly different because not all is the same, but basically, um, it it will always contain these components: the nucleus, the cell membrane, and the other
Nucleus,
organelles.
filaments, vigorous, cell members, cell walls, chocolates.
hmm That's the components of the cell. It's it's really fantastic and amazing. You can memorize that. But I don't require you guys to remember all the organelles or the components of the cell.
But it's not all of this.
Mm,
It's just some stuff.
Yeah, it's not a complete explanation.
because because they don't show off the complete organisms
Yeah, it's just
in
like
this.
an illustration of the cell, showing the most important part of a cell, but not all of them.
Yeah, there's more cells and
Hmm.
more organisms.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
okay, so but remember that you don't have to remember. I want to emphasize a little bit. You don't have to remember every single thing about the organelles. It is unnecessary. You just don't. You just need to understand these three concepts: nucleus, cell membrane, and chloroplast. That's the three most important things to support and to make the make the plants grow, flourishly. So yeah, that's it. Um, so that's all about cells. If you want to learn more about this, I did have a video here. I did have a video to help you gain a better understanding about cell through some vivid illustrations and animations. But the problem is we still have so many things to go, and I think that after the class, if we still have enough time, we can come back to watching the video. So yeah, just leave it behind a little bit, and we'll come back to another concept. So that's all about cell. And if you have any more questions about this, just tell me, just unmute yourself and tell me your doubts or your questions. I'm willing to answer all of this because, yeah. So that's about cell. So let's move on to the next concept. This is also really important about plants too. It is photosynthesis. So, this may sound like a very challenging word to remember, but one tip for you guys to memorize this word and its terminology is to break it down into smaller words that are more memorable and easier to memorize. So, basically, in Latin language, this word may be derived from Latin language, if I'm not mistaken. So, let's just break it down a little bit. So, in wait, what sound weird? Okay, so in the Latin language, photo means light, and synthesis mean to change or something like that. So basically, photosynthesis means to make the plants grow through a different components and to maintain the plant's survival. So that's the way I use to remember this word. And yeah, so let's go to the definition of photosynthesis. This definition and explanation I adapted from National Geographic, and I think it's a very great source to learn more about photosynthesis because, yeah, it's really educational, informative. But anyway, so photosynthesis is the process by which plants use sunlight, as you can see sunlight here, use water. Water will be absorbed by the roots of the plants through the soil and other components, and carbon dioxide to create oxygen. Oxygen will be the products from this process, and energy in the form of sugar or glucose. Okay, so it's really complicated a little bit, but here let me just break it down. So look at this illustration for a while. You can see that here's the plants, and first some important components for the plants to grow. First is sunlight, we have the water and the carbon dioxide in order to for the plants to breathe just like our human beings. And then when all the
Can you
process
let me in?
let oh what wait. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I didn't pay attention because I am sharing the screen. I don't see you guys. But yeah. Anyway, so pay attention to this image. I will try my best to explain as vitally as possible, but basically, you can see that the plants, normally in nature, will absorb sunlight and then carbon dioxide and other nutrients such as water or maybe fertilizers that can boost its growth. But basically, that's the primary components for the plant's growth. And then after this process, what are the products that the plant will release back into the atmosphere? Of course, it is oxygen, and that's why people often refer plants as the lungs of our world, because plants contribute 20% to all the oxygen in our planet. So, yeah, that's it. And other than oxygen, plants will also convert all those energy and components into glucose, which in form of sugar to support its own growth and to save for later usage. So that's the definition of the photosynthesis. And now we have some components for photosynthesis to take place. Here are the three most important components for it. First, we have the light, air, and water. So plants need light for the following reason. First, plants need light for photosynthesis. It is the process plants use to make their food. But before diving into this concept, because it's a little bit complicated for you guys, do you guys want to watch a video or should we continue with our lecture? Because I think it's getting bored for me to just go into this live. Do you guys want to watch a video?
Yes, please. Watch a movie.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay, thanks for your responses. But because you know what, I can just share the screen but cannot share the sounds for some reasons. It's really odd and bizarre, but yeah, I cannot fix this. It will be momentarily like that. But I will just show you guys the link for this because I think I personally getting bored too. So let me find a link. I'm putting it somewhere around here. Wait a minute. Let me stop sharing the screen for a while so I can retrieve the link. Why you guys said those emojis?
I want to watch chess.
What? You wanna
Can you
what?
send the link? I want to watch Top Chess.
What do you mean, bro? Chess? We don't learn about chess here, so I'm sorry. We cannot meet your expectations. But okay, let me find a link. Photosynthesis. Here. I love this channel for a reason, you guys. Share. Copy. So I'm gonna send it here. Wait a minute, some of you guys want to continue the lesson here in a bot chat. Well, it's really hard to make this decision, but just I'm gonna share with the screen this video because it's gonna be really fun and engaging to learn more about photosynthesis because I am incapable of explaining this understandable. So there we go. And after watching this, we can continue our lesson because I have to retrieve some water because I'm so thirsty. So take your time.
Hey there, it's a love.
you guys finished watching it?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, do you find the photosynthesis process interesting? Because personally, I think that it is so fascinating. I'm really into finding out about this. Anyway, so let's come back to our lecture. I just refill my water bottle in case I'm thirsty. But yeah. Okay. There we go. So here, oh wait. So here are three components that are necessary to carry out the photosynthesis process. Like we have to meet these three components in order for plants to conduct photosynthesis. First, plants need light. Plants need light for photosynthesis. It is the process plants use to make their food. So there is a very complicated process or equations for to indicate the photosynthesis process, which I am not bothering to tell you guys because it is relating to chemistry, and chemistry is the worst subject in the whole world. I am so sucked at learning chemistry, but it's not that I am bad at it, just because it's just so difficult to understand. So let me just show you guys, in case you're wondering like me. Um, Photosynthesis, we have an equation to indicate the photosynthesis process is real complicated. Here, um, 6CO2 plus 6H2O will result in C6H12O6 plus 6O2. It is a chemical reaction between sunlight and oxygen and other components in order to create the oxygen and glucose. So if you're interested in it, you can find out more on YouTube videos that they will be willing to explain why it is like that, but I'm not bothering to do that because yeah, you know the reason. So basically it's like that. So the first component is light and the energy from the sun. Next we got water. So water carries essential nutrients from the soil to the plant. Plants need water for photosynthesis too. So when you're watering your plants, then that soil will absorb the water, and then the roots will actually absorb the nutrients from the soil, especially water and other fertilizers or other nutrients from the soil. So also water contributes to the photosynthesis process. And then we have another indispensable component, which is air. Plants need air to breathe, just like human beings. They need carbon dioxide, especially, to sustain life, and in return, they will release oxygen for our survival. So, plants play a significant role in order to help us to survive because, as I've just explained earlier somehow in this lesson, that plants contribute 20% to the oxygen of the world. So there are three components that needed in order to carry out the photosynthesis process. First is the sunlight, second is water, and last but not least is the air. So you may wonder, what is the byproducts of the photosynthesis? In other words, what is the products that are produced from that process? So we have two products from the photosynthesis. First is glucose, the plant's energy, and we have oxygen in return. So plants produce oxygen. Oxygen is the leftover of the photosynthesis process and released back into the atmosphere, just like the animation or the animator explained in the video you've just watched, that oxygen will be released back from the atmosphere when the photosynthesis be take place. And we also have glucose too. Glucose is a little bit complicated to comprehend. I literally spent like an hour or so just to dig into the research of glucose and to simplify the words to help you guys understand this concept. But basically, glucose is used by plants as energy sources, or it will be produced or manufactured into other substances such as starch, as sugar. So that is the photosynthesis process, and I've just spent a little bit of minutes for you guys to watch the previous video. And remember that in a cell, organisms, we have the chloroplast I've explained earlier before. Remember that I explained to you guys that chloroplast is necessary to take place and to help the photosynthesis process to occur. Well, it is indeed, because the photosynthesis process will occur inside this chloroplast organism. So yeah, as you guys might figure out in the video after showed you guys, or after sent you guys, that chloroplast plays a significant role in order to sustain the photosynthesis process. So I hope that it will actually help you to get a better understanding about photosynthesis, because it's really, I have to emphasize, it's really important to learn about this, because later on you will see how beneficial it is. With light, air, and water as components of photosynthesis, and the products are oxygen and glucose. Alright, so my exciting part, the questions. So I have several questions, actually just two of them, but I think that can actually reinforce your knowledge a little bit. We have question number one. Plants need what three things for photosynthesis? Actually, I have to replace it with A, B, C, and D options, but somehow I chose right 1, 2, 3, 4, but it doesn't matter. So we have like four options. First is water, carbon dioxide, or sunlight, glucose, water, and sunlight, oxygen, water, and carbon dioxide, water, oxygen, and sunlight. This question is so freaking easy. I hope that you guys can understand this and answer this accurately. Well, so many of you guys raising your hands. Let's see, we have, wow, you guys seem really passionate about this topic because so many of you guys like raising your hands. Let's see. Someone who hasn't participated in a conversation before. What about Nữ Hoàng? I hope that's the correct your name. Okay. Here.
Water, oxygen, and sunlight.
Water, oxygen, and sunlight. So that's the fourth option. Alright, so let's consult other opinions. Let's ask other to give their voice too. So what about your opinions? Do you agree with her or not? What about Lady Big Hang, I suppose? What?
I think that I disagree with her opinion. My choice is the first choice.
The first choice, water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight. Alright, so we have two potential options here. So let's ask another person. Which person do you agree with? What about
Me, please.
yeah, go ahead. What is your opinion?
My opinion is gases, waters, and sunlight.
Alright, so we have three people and all of them have different opinions. It's getting so controversially interesting. Alright, so why don't you choose the rest, the leftover option, like oxygen, water, and carbon dioxide. Okay, so just kidding. So what about others? What about let's see. No, wait. Why do you guys keep not raising my hands? Võ Chen Zhang said that she agrees with Big Hang's opinion. Okay, so without further ado, I will review the answer. It is indeed the first option: water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight. So as I've stressed like all over again, that these are the most three components, why I stuttered, are the three most important components for the process of photosynthesis to take place: water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight. So for the rest of the options here is not correct. So let's figure out. Glucose, water, and sunlight. Water and sunlight is correct in order to take place the photosynthesis process, but glucose is not, because it is the product of photosynthesis. After taking place, you will receive this to provide the energy for the plants or to energy forms. And then we have the third option, oxygen, water, and carbon dioxide. Well, water and carbon dioxide is correct, but oxygen is not because it is also the product from the photosynthesis. And you know, plants will release oxygen in the atmosphere and to support the human survival because oxygen plays an important role in our survival, right? Other than food and other stuff like that. And we have fourth option, which is water, oxygen, and sunlight. So water and oxygen again is correct, but oxygen is not, as I've just explained earlier before. So you guys are really amazing to answer this question accurately, some of you. So congratulations. And then we have another question. I hope you guys get this correct, because it's kind of like, I think it's kind of not that complicated or difficult. The next question. Photosynthesis is responsible for the world's oxygen supply, which is needed for animals to survive. Guys, I think it's the easiest question I've ever encountered. Anyway, so who wants to answer this? Photosynthesis is responsible for the world's oxygen supply, which is needed for animals to survive. Uh, Fat, do you want to answer this? Because I see that you're raising your hands.
I think false.
Choose false, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so that's your opinion. And what about others? Do you agree with her or disagree? Okay, let me ask others because you guys don't raise your hands for some reasons. What about I don't know how to choose. There's so many options here. Huang Nguyen. I haven't seen you answer or speak before, so do you mind answering this question? What do you think? Is it true or false?
I think it is true.
True. So we have two separate options here, and both of you guys choose true and false. So it's gonna be one of those answer. So I will consult one last person to see the opinion first before revealing the answer. Hang Xiao, what about your opinion?
I think it's true.
It's true. Okay, so we have two people opt for the option true and one person opt the option false. So yeah, I will review this question. The answer right now, it is actually true, because as I've just told you earlier before, that thanks to photosynthesis, the plants will release and will kind of like produce oxygen back into the atmosphere. And I did provide some evidence that, according to some resources, that plants contribute 20% to all the oxygen resources on the planet and is considered the lungs of our world because of the huge amount of oxygen released from the atmosphere. So yeah, it is true, not false, because it is responsible for the Earth's oxygen supply, which is needed for animals. Okay, so I'm talking too much about human beings, but it is also necessary for animals to breathe by absorbing oxygen, right? Because animals and all living things require oxygen to breathe and to support their survival. So true is the correct answer. So thank you so much for your participation for these questions. I can see a lot of you guys make progress here, and that is a good sign. So far so good. So I also have another video for you guys to watch, but since I've just let you guys watch this because I'm filling with water, and in the meantime I require you guys to watch this, so it is unnecessary to do that right now. So yeah. But anyway, so that's all about the photosynthesis. One sentence you need to memorize: that photosynthesis is the process which plants will absorb all the necessary nutrients such as sunlight and then carbon dioxide and water and other supplements such as fertilizers and stuff like that. But that's the three most important components. And then the products from that process are oxygen and glucose. So remember that. Alright, so far we have gone through a lot here. We've gone through the cells, organisms, and the structures of it, and the functions of each component. And we also go through the photosynthesis. Right, so what is the next part? It is the plant's role in our ecosystem. So before revealing the concepts or the information about the plant's role, I want you guys to actually answer this question. Based on your opinion, what do you think, or like, how do you think that plants actually contribute to the ecosystem? Or what about the importance of plants in our life? I want to hear your answers about this before revealing the answer. So yeah, can you tell me some importance of plants in our life? There's a tons of them, so yeah. You guys just raise your hands if you're willing to answer this. I'll wait a few minutes or a few moments. Oh, come on, guys, this is so easy. You would just pay a little bit attention to your surroundings and you realize that plants have a lot of functions and importances for your life. So, what do you guys think about this? Um, okay, so it's okay if you don't know the answer, but I think that plants literally essential and important here. But okay, so let me just show you guys what I think first before diving into the answer. So personally, I think that plants play an important role in our ecosystem. First, it provides shelters for a lot of animals and species, right? Think about the biodiversity and think about all the creatures that having shelters on the trees, like insects and bacteria and worms, a lot of them actually locating and living, or in other words, inhabiting on trees. And even birds make nests on the trees, right? So that's the first function of plants, which is to provide shelters for all the animal creatures. And then next, as we've just gone through a little bit, is that plants actually contribute to the oxygen supplies of our world. So if you're paying attention, you'll realize that plants also support our survival by providing oxygen too. So that's another function of plants. Another thing is that trees overall also provide shades for our life. That whenever we feel hot, we feel scorching, we can often refer to plants and animals and even trees to provide shades and to refreshen the air quality. And the fourth importance of plants is that by implementing and by planting more trees, we can actually reduce air pollution and other environmental problems too. Because carbon dioxide is the primary contribution to climate change and other air pollution or some stuff like that. And you remember that trees actually absorb CO2 or carbon dioxide out from the atmosphere and release back the oxygen, right? So the more trees we plant, chances are that the problems regarding environmentals or stuff like that will be significantly reduced. And that's why a lot of policies have been put forward in order to plant more trees for our ecosystem, not only for our human beings, but for the sake of our world too, by refreshing the air quality and to making it become more healthy to breathe in. So that's some of the functions that I think plants contribute to our ecosystem and to our human beings. But now let's see the answer in my slide. I'm gonna share this. Alright, so wait, I need to fix this spelling. Sometimes it's just mixing it up. Okay, so plants play an important role in balancing our ecosystem, providing shelters for different species and contributing significantly to the food chain. So as I've just explained earlier, these two benefits of plants or whatever you call it, but you may not familiar with this term, food chain. What exactly is food chain and how plants can actually contribute or play a part in food chain. Alright, so it's pretty much easier and logical to understand this. Let me show you guys an illustration of a food chain here. Alright, so I'm taking it from the internet, but personally, we see that grass is one species of plant, right? And grass, unlike human beings or other animals, will produce its own food and energy from the photosynthesis. So grass or plants overall will absorb the nutrients from the sunlight, from water, in order to produce the glucose, and then other grasshoppers, or you can call it crickets or other insects, will consume grass as the main food. And then frog will eat these crickets or these worms or the animals who eat the grass, and the snake will eat the frog. And then this cycle just goes on until the eagle will consume the snake. So you can see that thanks to grass and thanks to its automatic photosynthesis process, that it can supply other animals and contribute significantly to the food chain. So that's basically the food chain. Basically, it follows from a process where other animals consume grass, like the herbivores, and then the carnivores, such as frog or snake, will consume these creatures who eat the grass, and then the eagle will eat the snake, and then maybe something larger and bigger will consume the eagle, and so forth. So that's basically the food chain, and by producing its food and energy on its own, grass plays a significant role in this food chain. So yeah, that's about the food chain, and I just quickly going through this because we also have another concept to go through before wrapping up our lecture, because so far I can notice that a lot of knowledge has been generated to you guys. Okay, so let's move on to the next concept. Last but not least, we'll look more in depth about another concept besides cells, organisms, besides photosynthesis, besides all of that. We'll look more in depth about another concept, which is plants and their reproduction. So really interesting, to be honest. Okay, so pollination. What exactly is pollination? Pollination is the process by which pollen grains are transferred from the stamens. We have a definition of stamens here, which is the male parts of a plant, to the pistil, the female structure by pollinators. Pollinators can be flyers or other insects such as bees or butterflies, something like that. Basically, it will transfer the nutrients from transfer the pollens from the female plants to the male plants, and fertilization will occur, and then other offspring will be produced from those parents of the plants. So let's watch this video to see the real life situation of a pollinator actually consume all the pollens from this plant and transfer it to the female. So here, as you can see, the bees here are actually kind of like consuming some pollens from this kind of flower, and then later on you will understand that the bees will flying away, and then it will just kind of like passing by another animal and will accidentally transfer it to another animals or to another flowers. So that is the pollination. Pollination. Yeah, I think you guys can understand that. because basically when bee is transferring the pollen from the female plants to the male's plant and leading to fertilization, and as a result that the offspring or another flowers will be reproduced. So that's the first technique for the reproduction of plants. Besides that, we also have another natural way for plants to develop its offspring or its generation, which is seed dispersal. So seed dispersal maybe sound a little bit complicated and academic a little bit, but basically seed dispersal is when moving seeds around it is called dispersal. When you blow on a dandelion, you're helping to disperse the dandelion seeds. This usually happens with the help of wind. Wind helps move seeds from one place to another. So pay attention to this dandelion. You can see that by the help with the assistance from the wind, all the dispersed will be transferred to another area, and as a result, the dispersed will grow when the factors from another climate can help us to grow to ensure the reproductive success, which I will show you guys more in the next slides. So you can see that with the help of the wind, the flowers will be transferred all the pollens from it, and all the pollens will land on another places, such as on another suitable growing crops. I think it's kind of complicated to explain it, but basically when these seed is dispersed, then it can land on another random places, and maybe those places are suitable for its own growth, and as a result it will gradually flourish much better instead of landing on this area with its own parents. So the wind will help carry all those dispersal to another areas, and the plants will be more diverse and more unique. Okay, so that's the way I can explain to you guys. And here's the relationship between pollination and seed dispersal. So first, the tree will carry on the disperse from the pollination and will help the fertilization from the female to the male, and then the seed dispersal will happen with assistance from the natural factors such as wind, or maybe when we blow the dandelion as I've shown you earlier, can actually help to facilitate this process too. So I know it's kind of really hard to understand. I also have another video YouTube to watch from this, and please inform me whether or not you can hear the sound, because yeah. So I'm gonna share this, play this video right now.
We've already talked about reproductive success in other videos. It's related.
I don't hear it.
You cannot hear it. Okay. It's getting hard, but
We've already talked about
wait a
You
minute.
can turn on the options.
Can you hear the sound of it?
reproductive success
No.
in other videos. It's related.
We
You
can't
can
hear
turn on the
anything.
options so we can read it.
It's gonna be because this video can actually help you guys to understand more about the concepts of reproduction. So I'm gonna share with you guys this link. First, let me
It's
open
related.
on YouTube, and I will copy this link and come to the meeting room and share it in the chat box below. Please watch this because it will help you guys to understand much better. So yeah, there you go.
Reproductive success in other videos. It's related.
Um,
The number of offspring an organism can. We've already talked about reproductive success in other videos. It's related to the number of offspring an organism can have in its lifetime. And so in this video, we're going to think about strategies that plants use for reproductive success. A plant that has more surviving offspring has a higher reproductive success. So one major strategy that plants use to increase their chances of reproduction is by leveraging animals for pollination. You have seen pollination. This is a picture of a bee gathering nectar from this flower, but as it gathers that nectar, pollen also gets attached to that bee. So as that bee goes from flower to flower, from plant to plant, it's able to pollinate. It's able to take pollen from one plant and give it to another plant, allowing for that genetic mixing to occur and also to then have more plant reproduction. Now, once a plant is able to reproduce, we also need to think about how viable its offspring are going to be. Are they in conditions where they are likely to succeed in living and then reproducing themselves? And here, a common strategy, or at least a category of strategies that plants use, are known as seed dispersal. And it's really just trying to get the seeds in as many places as possible, potentially far away from the plant itself, to increase the chances that more of the seeds are going to be in places that are nutrient rich where they can survive. And once again, you have likely seen this. This is a dandelion plant. And when a strong wind blows, these dandelion seeds catch the wind because they have these structures which are not that aerodynamic, which pull the seeds along and can transport them for even miles and miles. Many of these seeds aren't going to end up in useful places, but some of them might. And they might be in places where the future dandelion offspring are more likely to survive and then reproduce themselves. But seed dispersal also gets the help of animals. This right over here is a picture of a bird eating fruit from a plant. And as that bird flies away and munches on that fruit, that seed might be dispersed. It might be thrown down hundreds of yards or even miles away from the original plant. In many cases, you might eat a fruit, and I am saying you because we do this ourselves. You might eat, say, a watermelon or a papaya, and a couple of seeds go down while you ate it. And then later on, you or some other animal might poop it someplace where it might be a good place for that watermelon plant or that papaya plant to grow. So this was just an overview of some of the strategies that plants use. But it's important to realize that throughout nature, we see this idea of reproductive success over and over again. And in animals, behaviors or strategies for reproductive success. And here we saw plants, strategies for reproductive success. Is that through
Have you guys finished watching it? Oh yes, you have finished. Okay, so I forgot to go through the concept of reproductive success before explaining to you guys about all these strategies for reproduction. I forgot to do that. But now, as we've gone through the video, reproductive success is basically the surviving chances of the offspring in another areas, because the more offsprings are likely to survive in any conditions, maybe from the help of the parents or from different strategies for reproduction, then that is called reproductive success. The more reproductive success will be proved. So that's just basically that. Reproductive success just basically indicates the population or the offspring from any species that are likely to grow up into adults to reproduce themselves. So wait, I want to ask you guys this question regarding this video. Do you think that it is too challenging for you guys to comprehend the knowledge of this video? Because yeah, is it too difficult or it's just normal?
It's very simple. It is some kind of normal.
Mm-hmm. Because
It's normal.
mhm. Because I am afraid that some of you guys may find it difficult because it is said here middle school biology. So yeah, that's basically that about pollination and
Look, that in the USA,
hmm?
middle school.
Wait, come again? What did you say? Oh wait, so as I've just talked about pollination and seed dispersal, that's some strategies that animals, plants use in order to reproduce and to generate offspring in the future, maybe. So seed dispersal, I'm basically really fascinated with this one, seed dispersal, because thanks to the natural factors such as the wind, or maybe from humans too. For example, as the example illustrated in this video, when we're eating watermelon and we accidentally just spitting out some seeds from that watermelon, and if it is the right place for the watermelon to grow, maybe rich nutrient soil and other factors contributing to the watermelon's growth, then it will actually grow much better compared to its parents. Yeah, so that is the concept of it, and I think that's pretty much what we're going to learn about on this class today. Oh my god, today is so daunting and so many knowledge for you guys to learn. I hope you guys can actually do my homework, because the homework is also kind of a lot of stuff to complete. So yeah. Alright, so let's see. That's the end of our class right now. But since we have 8 minutes before we end the classroom, then can you guys give me some suggestions what to do? Maybe blue cat? What do you guys think?
Blue cat again.
I knew it. You guys are really into this, so I'm thinking of finding some kind of games that are relevant to our lesson today about plants. But the problem is the question is often too specialized and too difficult. But yeah. So what do you guys want to do about plants today? We have the plant structure, about photosynthesis.
Ocean and continent games, please.
But it's not relevant to our lesson today. It's not about plants. Come on, I want to reinforce the knowledge. So I'm sorry for that. We cannot play oceans and continent games because we have to pay attention to the knowledge right now. So I'm thinking of giving you guys some games about either, let's see, cells, organisms, photosynthesis, or some reproduction. So what do you guys want to prefer to do? Or maybe if you guys are just too tired, I'm thinking of giving you guys some kind of free options that you might want to do. Can you give me some suggestions? Maybe it's your preference. Do you guys want to play oceans and continent names as Ving suggested?
Wonder of the world.
Wonder of the world, please.
Wonders of the world. That's kind of interesting too, by the way. Wait, but I have this question. Can the host participate in the game too?
Yes.
But I don't know how to do that.
No, host is watching every other player play.
I think the host cannot do that.
Do you want me to host a game? I can do that for you. If you want to
Just
play.
make a face, a fake idea.
Bruh.
Host?
Oh,
I
guys.
can host.
Guys. Guess
Wait
what?
a bit. Don't start the game. Wait a bit.
Big Heck said, yes, of course, you can lift early, but remember to do the homework. Bye.
So, what is the homework?
Oh, I'll send it later to the Zalo group.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Stop cursing, please. Oh my god. This. Okay, so, you know what? I will not.
Wait, don't start the game.
Tower defense. Well, what?
Calm down, guys.
You choose.
Tower of Doom, you said?
Maybe you choose.
What?
Maybe you choose.
Let me see. What about crypto hack? Because
I don't know.
You choose. You want to play, you have to play. Or not.
Because like in the previous lesson I've learned with my writing, with my speaking
That
class.
depends. for defense or the tower defense or the tower two. Crazy kid, what you do?
Racing. What is in this racing? Because I haven't participated in this before.
You
Yes, racing.
Let's
what?
let's try this because it's new to me too. So
Cafe, please.
Racing.
Do you want to
Okay.
play the game too? I can host the game. Look in the chat.
what is this?
Oh,
So fuck.
Ving, I told ya, please stop cursing, or else I would tell your mom. Wait, you created this game, so thanks for that. I'm gonna participate in this game too. Thanks for creating this account. Stop. First.